about
Oh,
that.
we're on live, bro. I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're live. We're live.
your life.
What's up, bro?
Nothing much, nothing much. Just got another advisory about the storm is coming. But like you say, aloha, welcome everyone. Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. It's beautiful Wednesday. It's beautiful Wednesday. I hear
We all
with
live in a yellow submarine. There we go. The thunder
Charlie.
is crazy. Now I know I'm gonna just give you guys warning up front. My internet has been sporadic, and this time I cannot blame Spectrum because of Mother Nature. It has been going off and on and dropping. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that it'll let us get through tonight. But it is pouring here in Wailua House Lots. The thunder, as I'm sure you've heard, is
Yeah.
outrageous. That last one was, I swear, got me off of the couch that I was laying on taking a power nap. It scared the pickles out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was loud, and now it's still rumbling. The rain is pouring, and we send our prayers to all of those out there in the underlying areas, the low-lying areas. I'm sorry, the low-lying areas.
Yeah.
Haleiwa up in Maui, all of it, and all of you guys that are suffering from this. Prayers go out, guys. Stay safe, stay dry. Don't drive if you don't have to drive. Stay home. Stay home.
Yep. It's 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 mother's nature, or not mother's nature, but it's mother nature at its you know, for whatever reason. For whatever reason, Mother Nature decides to, whatever reason it decides to do what it's doing. It is doing what it's doing, and there is no getting around it. Some
Yeah,
people,
it's not a bad thing. It's a storm, man. It's a storm. Welcome. You live in a tropical climate. I'm not complaining. I'm just,
yep,
concerned for everybody's safety.
yep.
I'm just trying to read some of these comments already. Terrence, what's up? I haven't seen Terrence on for a while. I'm loving the rain in Kekaha. Beatles, I get limo coming out of my ears. Hey, now is the time you make. Patsy made saimin for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Saimin, and she makes her own dashi with
Uh-huh.
chicken stock and her special spices that she puts in.
Yeah.
Had udon noodles, had mustard cabbage, had um, uh, like wonton min, carrot. Oh, delicious! That bugger went knocked me out. I had to go take a nap.
Mm.
I had to go take a nap. But this is the kind of weather for chowder, corn chowder. Some really good warm comfort food. Now is the time, guys. Cold evening
Uh,
for hot cocoa and Mountain View cookies.
Wow. I don't know about you, but this kind of weather, for some reason, I get the urge for strawberry ice cream. I don't know what
Really?
it is.
Just cough. Oh, egg drop soup, Beatles. Beatles, if you guys don't know, he's an excellent cook. He's
Mm.
an amazing chef.
Yeah.
So I know I just told people stay home, no drive, Beatles, but can you drive to Wailua House Lots and bring some of your egg drop soup, please?
Oh, beef stew, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
anybody with me on that strawberry ice cream from Haagen-Dazs? Still looking. I might be the only one. Oh boy, wrong gamble I took. I
corn
mentioned that.
chowder. Terrence, Patsy is watching, so I'm sure you'll have a bowl of or a pot of corn chowder pretty soon.
Terrence, I saw your dad today. We was talking about old times. Talking about if we ever going back to play music right now. No, no, it's not in the cards. But I had a nice chat with him. Hope you're doing good in kickoff. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, want to welcome you on this beautiful. I'm gonna say beautiful because despite all that's happening, we thank God we are, we're safe. We've got our health, and we've got our loved ones all tucked away safely. That we make checks every now and then. and we checked in with our Ohana, and everyone's doing safe. And I hope you folks did the same too. I hope you folks did the same too, as Brother Mel is doing right now. Please share. Please share tonight's segment, the Mel and Charlie Show. We've got a lot to talk about. And I'm doing good. Mel, how about you? Other than that power nap you had?
I had to take about a 20-minute power nap. I don't know what it was, man. You know what it was? I did today. I testified virtually.
Yes.
Um, there, somebody just said Haagen Dazs.
Yeah.
Pistachio almond ice cream from Baskin Robbins. Ooh. But
Yeah.
anyway, I went and testified this morning virtually at the council meeting, and I think that triggered some I guess just I don't know what it was, but right after that I was completely drained and exhausted,
Hmm.
completely drained and exhausted, and then I had to go to work. I took off a couple hours in the morning so I could testify, and then I went back and I went to work, and it was just and the weather. It was just a draining day, and I had to take a power nap, man. It was just I was feeling really really down, and power nap did wonders. Patsy Simon did wonders, and fresh brewed hot coffee always does wonders, man. Always does wonders. So yeah, I did. I would just want to say that the county is planning to build a new segment of the bike path right along the coast in front of Islander on the beach. But to do that, they gotta condemn land. They gotta condemn land, and that was on the agenda. So I went to testify against it because we there's three sections of the bike path right now that are being undermined by erosion. So why would the county go condemn land to build more concrete bike path in a coast
Hey,
on the
Mel,
coastline that's
Mel,
eroding?
they got experts, right? On coastal erosion. They got
Yes.
experts. And what the experts say.
It just reminds me of COVID and certain leaders and decision makers in the COVID
What did
world
the
where
what did the experts for the county say? Did they
well
testify to
depends what experts you're talking about. The experts in the county administration, the Doug Haig, who's the guy in charge, is the project manager. He says, well, we really don't know what the erosion is going to do. In fact, the most recent study is showing that the erosion is 3/10 of a foot per year. But anyway, Charlie, I plan to do a show on that itself because I think it's important that the people understand.
yeah?
Condemnation is not free. You're basically taking land from a private landowner. And like I told them today in my testimony, if you're condemning land for public access, so you can open up access for our public to get to beaches or mountain trails or whatever, then I am fully supportive of that. But not to put a concrete bike path that's going to inevitably wash away. We've seen it in three spots. And when the council members, and I gotta say, the council members were very receptive and they were, concerned about the same issues that I was. And they asked Doug Haig, how much money have we spent on fixing the other parts of the bike path that is eroding away? And he said, I don't have that figure. And you cannot predict. We don't know. Anyway, we'll do a show on that, Charlie, because I think it's important that the public understand what's happening. I did speak to Peter Morimoto, who's an attorney as well, and he is very familiar with the coastal processes of the Kapaa Wailua shoreline.
Hmm.
So I talked to him today, and he's willing to come on and share his knowledge and experience of that coastline. And I'm hoping that the people, the public, will call their council members and say, hey, while we listen, I am not against the bike path. I am not against the bike path, just not on the coast where we already are losing. You know, it's not cheap. Putting a concrete down on the coastline is very expensive. And I don't know, what was it, 10 years ago or so? I remember having the same discussion and I had the same arguments. As a councilman, I said, why would you put it there knowing that erosion is going to take it away? No, erosion is going to be 30, 40, 50 years. Well, it's been what? less than a decade, and we're already losing some of the bike paths. So it's just foolish, in my opinion. Why would you put a hardened structure on a coastline that's eroding using
Hmm.
taxpayer money, and then having to use taxpayer money to repair the stupid mistakes that you made to begin with? So anyway, I didn't want to take up too much time on tonight, so I did want to make people aware that uh,
Hmm.
that's what's happening in our local county of Kawainei.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, Nancy says I got to go back on a council. You know, today was the first time, Charlie, and I almost called you, but I didn't want to ruin your day. But
No,
today was the first time I felt like, damn it, maybe I need to run again. Well, I'm
yeah.
happy what I'm doing, but anyway, yeah, it's we can only hope that this council will do the right thing. It still has to go to a public hearing, which is going to be in April, and I'm going to try and recruit people, as many people to testify on Zoom and bombard them because we as the taxpayers have a right to say yes or no. And while again the bike path doesn't have to be along the coast on an eroding coastline, they could find another route. I understand. I love the bike path. I think a lot of people use the bike path, but why would you put it on a coastline that's eroding? Yes, if you go to Kauai, I forget the name of the page that Peter Morimoto put up a while back. You look at the pictures of the erosion, and to even consider this.
Hmm.
Anyway, I'm laughing now because it's we're still a few months, a couple months away from a final vote, but we need to make sure that does not happen. We can I like I said, if we acquire that property, the easement, so people can walk along the beach, fish, and so forth. Hey, I'm all for it, but not to put a concrete bike path only so we have to go fix it in the next 3 or 5 years. So anyway, sorry for digressing, Charles. That was
No.
my day. But I did have a great yesterday. We had a COVID discussion with Dana Moore and her group, Dr. Pang, Dr. Capono, and I apologize. You might remember the doctor's names, Charlie. Doctor Alta. You remember the names?
No.
They're always on. There is always on the discussions. This Dr. Wiener was on. But anyway, they had a discussion about travel-related virus. It was powerful. It wasn't. It was just a Zoom meeting, and Charlie and I were both invited on. But it was quite interesting what Dr. Pang was saying and his colleagues, including Dr. Kapono Chong Hansen. So I reached out to them and invited them to come on our show, and we'll do a special segment just with them, so we can share what they're doing on Maui and what they're encouraging the rest of the state to do. And it really comes down to testing to
Hmm.
accurately get the numbers of cases here in Hawaii. So I'm hoping we can make that happen early next week. I'm shooting hopefully for Monday or whatever they can do it. We will have the show to accommodate their schedules. But I think the testing is critical to get an accurate count of how much virus we really have in the state. Because as we all feel, the numbers that we see every day from the state, it's not something that I would bet my life on. I just wouldn't.
Well, I guess I look at it where we've kind of moved away from preventative measures. Okay, so if that's the case, then taking account of cases pre-departure, it doesn't matter as long as you can find out if in fact there are cases here or not. Because we're not taking precautionary measures anyway. The state is not moving in that direction anyway. And the direction that I feel the state has gone into is basically, we're safe, we're out of the woods, so hey, do whatever. But I did want to talk about a lot of the confusion, and I was going, and I'm glad I got some feedback today from some of you out there. On one turn, if you just look up the basic CDC guidelines for mask wearing, they tell you all these precautionary measures, what to do, what not to do. And yet then they put out another one that say, once you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear masks. And at the same token, they say, but if you have been vaccinated, you should take precautionary measures. I mean, if COVID doesn't kill us, it's confusion that's going to kill us. You know, I mean, gee whiz. And I think what happens is when you take a society that's so fragile as it is now, and you flip flop on your messaging, and then you get upset because nobody's following what you say. In their defense, they're gonna say, okay, which one do you want us to follow? You've mentioned so much, I don't know which one you want us to do. And that's what's happening. It's coming down like, okay, which one is it? On one day you tell us wear a mask, next day, no need wear a mask. One day you tell us social distance, but yeah, when you go back to school, it's okay to go 3 feet instead of 6 feet, you know? And when you do that kind of stuff, I said, okay, what does 3 feet make? What does it really do? What is it? Because kids, when they talk, their aerosolized particles that leave their bodies only has enough uh, flying power to go 3 feet and boom, nosedive at that point. And humans, ours can go forever. Is that it? I mean, it's just crazy. Just crazy.
It's like the airplanes, yeah.
Yep.
Charlie, whoop, right down like a suction cup going right down to the floor. Charles, whoop.
Yeah.
You are so right, Charlie. I read your post, and you are so right. It's the 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 bottom line is I understand the school, and we all agree that the kids belong in school.
Yes.
We believe that. I mean, I think kids belong in school, and I also believe that it can be done safely. But when you come, when you out there telling people 6 feet, in fact, now that the variant, they're finding out that recent study, the UK virus now, the mortality rate, or it is more dangerous than the regular strain. I mean, that's what the new study is showing. There is talk about expanding. We talked about this yesterday in our Zoom meeting. And George, I saw your question, George. I'm going to compile everything because I don't have it right now. I don't want to misspeak. So we'll have that data from the Maui post travel, our pre-departure testing, and we'll have a meeting on that. I just don't have the numbers right now, and I don't want to. I want to stay in my lane. Let's just put it that way. But when we know what is required to be safe, which is minimum 6 feet, but because we want to get the kids into school, and the state doesn't want to put in the effort. Remember now, it's been a year. It's been a year, and we cannot figure out a way to expand the floor space. Whether you can use outside classrooms, you can use a gymnasium, you can utilize schools that are less populated because we've had problems with schools in certain districts that don't have enrollment, and in fact are on the list to be chopped, but they haven't discussed that. How can we make it safe for the kids? Well, in their eyes, you make it safe simply by lowering the restrictions, go from 6 feet to 3 feet, and we cannot assure your kids are going to be socially distanced. So listen,
Oh,
that my point is this, Charlie, is that we know what is required to keep people safe.
mhm.
It's the standard around the world. And for one demographic, which are students, remember now, every classroom has a teacher. We have some teachers that have underlying conditions, and that's why the apprehension of going back into the classrooms. Why would you lower the standard or the requirements or the restrictions? Because is the risk worth the reward, or should you have spent more time figuring out a way to do it safely? Isn't a year enough? I think it is, and they haven't done that. They haven't done that.
Well, well, let me ask you this. Okay. Nobody ever bothered to ask. You remember I said, we should have someone that talk about wind dynamics, right? So remember, I talked about that a long time ago, wind dynamics. Then all of a sudden you read all that's coming out about, oh, you got to make sure that proper ventilation and all that. I said, okay. I mentioned that some time ago and everybody thought I was bonkers. So now let me throw another one out. If what they're saying is true, kids talk 3 feet and out, because that's pretty much the main concern of sourcing for the infection, right? How do you transmit it to others, right? Then why don't they put the kids and their desks and tilt them at an angle down towards the floor? Then you can get more people in one 6 foot distance, really, because guess what? When you talk, you're talking to the floor, you're not talking across. Or make it a rule when you talk, when you talk openly, you got to talk down to pose your question to the teacher. So the aerosolized droplets do not have a chance to travel 2 feet. They go straight down onto the ground. If that's what we're talking about, right?
I, I would love to have one of those people that made that call on the show.
And you know
Yeah,
what?
Dana, you didn't miss much. We're talking about. We didn't get to the variant yet, but Dana, last night Dr. Peng said. Well, actually, he's been saying for a while now. 12 feet is what it should be. I think
No,
last
but
night they
the
mentioned
person, no, the
five.
person who made the recommendation, I bet you if they brought him off, the first thing they'll be talking about is, hey, thank you for having me on.
What was
Talking.
that, Charlie? I'm sorry, you came quiet.
No, that's what I'm saying. A
Oh,
person recommended 3 feet. They're gonna be talking like this. Thank you
yeah.
for having me on. Because 3 feet, because I know when I talk, not enough variance is gonna fly that far across. You're gonna get one person that talks super quiet. So they can say with as an expert, 3 feet enough. Because they're not yelling at the top of their lungs for trauma about 10, 12 feet. You know what I mean? So what are we gonna start getting into are we gonna start getting into this debate about uh, decibel levels that we can talk? Because if we control the decibel levels, we should control how your droplets leave and at what distance it can travel. If you can control the decibel levels.
I bet you're giving them an idea, Charlie. You realize that tonight somebody's like, "Hey, damn it! Tomorrow I'm gonna bring it up and we're gonna go and get decibel meters for all the classrooms." I mean, no, it's something parents going to have to make a decision on what's safe. I understand some people feel totally comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That teachers are all vaccinated. That's fine. I mean, it's an individual choice. My point is, and as you were saying, the the restrictions should not be compromised. The safety should not be compromised because the state has done a terrible job with preparing to get the kids back in school. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you set up a portable whatever it takes. You kids can learn in a tent. You could set up obviously when it rains, you gotta make adjustments. But my point is that there was no effort placed in the with the DOE other than we cannot fit them in a class, so we gotta just shrink the we just gotta shrink the space, the social distancing. That's the only way we're gonna do them.
You know where that
CDC says 6 feet. Where,
you know
who the hell can override that and say, no, 3 feet, 3 feet, because it's kids?
this is where it's incorrect. Unless you get one blueprint of a school, and if you get all your classrooms that were built geometrically, they're all built the same size. I don't think that's right because I've been like commandment. I've been into some classes that seem much larger than others. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you're gonna hold to this rule, then the thing is, okay, if the most important class is English, then you try to find a classroom that has the most floor space so you can put more students in there, right?
Hmm.
You can put more students in there. at a, an uncomfortable pace where you don't have to worry. If that's the most class, and the one that's not as important, like home economics or whatever, yeah, you can put them on shorter space because you're not going. He's not maybe not going to even show up for that darn class, something like that. But it's
Mireille is saying, in a tent with computers, humidity, those computers will not last long. I don't know about you, Mireille, but when I went to school, they didn't have computers. We had textbooks. We had paper and pencil and a chalkboard. We didn't have a whiteboard. I understand what you're saying, but I think, in these challenging times, we got to make adjustments. And I think if the computer is what's holding kids back from being in school, no, I think kids got to get back in school. I think they do, but you do what you have to do, and it just I don't understand why it's taking so long to figure it out.
I sorry, Mom, but and I go to this, I always try to find you always say, Charlie, you got this really thought-provoking ideas. And it's just that I'm sitting here thinking, you're right. Because if our government, and I'm talking about the military, if they can go overseas into an area to get plenty firefights, you know that, right? But they can actually build a encampment that can address the firefight. It can be done. So that's what I'm saying about the schools. If they can go outside the classroom to accommodate in a safe manner, it can be done. What to me, what's holding everything back is the will. Is the will if they really want to do it or not. Okay, because I understand the unions involved, and if you shake a little trees, it's like, okay, union members, teachers, we calculated you take 25 steps a day, make them go 26. Oh boy, all hell break loose. You know what I mean? That's what happens. So everybody got to get on board with this thing and says, hey, for the sake of the kids, what do we do? But no, you
Charlie,
leave.
we've had I've deployed to areas that had was a peanut field,
Mhm.
and within a couple of days, the civil engineers of the Army, Red Horse, put up a tent city. We had command posts. We had huge operation centers in tents. In tents, they had dehumidifiers. They had air conditioning units. Whatever. Listen, my point is this: if we if that is the desire to get the kids in school, then let's do it. Let's do it, and let's everybody come together and focus on how can we do it in a safe way, because I think
We've
it's
done it.
important. And
We've done it before.
again, I'm not a child psychologist. I'm not, but I know that I'm hearing it from kids and I'm hearing it from parents that the kids are losing out. The social skills, the just a lot of things that are going to affect this entire generation. So it can be done. It can be done, and that's the focus that should be happening. And I think everybody's got to come together. And at the end of the day, it's still up to the parents, and for that matter, it's up to the teachers. If the teacher still doesn't feel like it's safe enough, then that's the teacher's prerogative. But
Mhm.
the focus should be on how can we get the kids into school safely. You don't cut the social distance down to 3 feet. That's not safe, and that can cause a lot of problems. But I'm a firm believer that you could construct for very cheap. They talk about building a stadium for $350 million, Charlie, for a stadium, and we cannot. Army surplus. You can buy those GP medium tents. You can buy GP small tents. You could get whatever you want, and we could fabricate the inside, put a wooden floor. The kids would learn. The kids would be back in their school environment, and they would not be 3 feet apart. That's all I'm trying to say. And I think many of you that are watching that may have been in the military in a mobile combat unit, we ran operations with some high tech, expensive equipment in
Mhm.
a tent. It can be done. That,
You
that's
know,
that's all I'm suggesting.
okay, first of all, Merle, we're not trying to ditch HSTA, not at all. But trust me, I've been head of chauffeur. I was a Teamster business agent, and I know what tickles the nerves and get people rattled. So that's all I'm saying. I know what it's going to take to light that fuse. Okay, I've seen it happen before. I've seen what happened when we raided UPW to take the hospitals away from UPW and put them with the Teamsters. All it took was just one lighting of the fuse, and it happened. All I'm saying is, if we're looking for the benefit of our children, okay, some things definitely is going to have to change. It may not be part of the norm that you know, it may not have to, it probably will come down to, it can't, given the circumstances, it cannot be the same old, same old. It will not work if you're what you're trying to accomplish. Now, this is what I do foresee, and I've been seeing, is that it would be nice to know, okay, whose idea, everybody's taking the CDC guidelines, okay, and I just mentioned it when we started. There's so confusing messages going back and forth about the CDC. It is a vital part of our society that we have someone from the Center for Disease Control. Yes, but it's the messaging that gets all jammed up. You say one thing one day, then you say another thing. If you're saying 3 feet is what it takes, because it sure seems like our school says, CDC said, okay, you're a school. So my question is this, we're talking about public schools. Private schools have been open all this time. Ask them how the hell they've been doing it. But have they gone down to 3 feet? Or are they 6 feet? Or have they been putting classes outside? Nobody even bothered to ask private schools how they did it. But they're doing it.
That's right. They've been doing it for a while. We haven't had any significant issues with that. And I think that I think that if the state had put as much energy
Mhm.
in getting our schools back open safely that they did with getting our hotels open safely, getting our airlines open safely, getting our visitor attractions open safely. If they had put the same amount of energy, then our kids would have been back in school already safely. They chose not to. Their focus, and we know this, it's not like a secret. The
Mhm.
emphasis has always been on opening the visitor industry. From day one, it was that way. And it was very easy. Now everybody's blaming the DOE superintendent. She's quitting. She's resigning. She's not staying on no more because she doesn't want to distract from what's supposed to be done. And I'm not here to support her or not support her because it's above her. My point is that the state has not done what they're supposed to do. In other words, educating our kids or getting our kids back in school was not a very high priority.
Mhm.
Not a very high priority in the eyes of the state.
Yep.
It wasn't. I mean, listen, every single press conference, did you ever hear education? Did you
Zero.
ever hear it? No, man, it was always about travel partners, safety partners, this test, that test. We're gonna open up the doors. We need to get our economy going. And all the time, nothing about
Kids.
schools. How can we open up our schools? How can we create an environment for our kids to get back in the classrooms? Very little. And if they did talk about it, it was all about the reasons why we cannot open. So I'm obviously I don't have my kids are old already. They're not in school. But I tell you right now, if I had a child in school, I would go get another job if I had to go put them in a Catholic school or in a private school here on Kauai. My coworker did that. She felt so strongly that her child was missing out on the social part of youth, and the kid is elementary. Took him out of Kapa Elementary and put him in St. Catherine. I would have done the same. I would, and I go work another job or whatever I'd have to do. I would have
Mhm.
done that because to me, That's way more important. Getting our kids situated in a learning environment. That should have been a priority, and it just wasn't.
Yeah. Hey, I see some discussion going on with Leah, and I see she's been affected by the second dose, as what I'm reading. And yes, please do take care. Just monitor that thing, boy.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
just monitor it well. And
It's I guess it's quite common the
yeah,
second dose.
yeah, I've got a
Um,
lot of people that they're getting. And it's funny, it's I hear pros and cons. The second dose on a Pfizer, second dose on Moderna. You know, and I know when somebody BSing me when they said, the second dose of the Johnson and Johnson, you got caught. Johnson only get one dose, so no, don't start, no, don't start making up stories. But when you're, I hear equally, depending on who you talk to. But I heard from the people that I've talked to had that here in Hawaii that gotten the second dose from where is that the convention hall, right? The one the state health department is giving those vaccinations. Um, they've a lot of them had said that they really feel it on the second. And then there's those that just completely ride the wave and they're doing fine. When I took my Pfizer, I did post how I was feeling after the second shot, but a little lethargic, and that's why I recommended the injection site switch arms. Try to do them in the same place because yeah, you're gonna feel them. But other than that, so that's just my personal take on it. I'm sure there's many others out there that they've had a rough ride, whoever they are. You know.
Yeah,
Yes.
a good example is my wife Patsy and my mother-in-law. They went to the same. They got the same lot. It was the same lot of vaccine. Same lot. Um, Patsy got. She had side effects. She had the chills. She had the body aches, the headache. My mother-in-law, 83, nothing, zero. But my mother-in-law is a very active 83-year-old. She's in the yard every day. She walks, and she's farmer, right, from Japan. Family was a farmers. Their bodies are different. It just all depends. Everyone is different, and it's no different than any other vaccine. So yeah, Patsy's mom just oh no, little sore when you touch, but nothing else, man. Nothing else. And but she's a strong lady, so yeah, it is what it is. This just goes with the territory.
Right.
Goes with the territory.
Hey Mel, let's wanted to kind of give back on the messaging. You remember I've been and you as well. We've been saying from day one. We've asked the lieutenant governor about it because that messaging was always a problem under the former administration for Department of Health, Dr. Anderson, and state epidemiologist Dr. Park. It was always about the messaging, right? And nearly 1 year later, I still see there's some form of problem with messaging. What is it? Is it because their ideas are short-lived and they say, well, we're out of the woods? Because that's really how the messaging is coming across now. Okay. When you look at a population the size of Israel, that pretty much had the most people vaccinated, right? Is Israel. I like to see some of their reports coming out of how things are going right now with regards to their vaccination program, the plus and minuses. It will be good to have that kind of data. For some reason, the messaging we're having in the U.S. and here locally, we're going as we're just going with the flow. You conquer 5 feet, you're already giving a message. And then, first the message was the the vaccine are working against the variants. Then you get another message saying they're not working against the variants. and it goes back and forth. And you ask yourself, make up your damn mind. Maybe just wait already. Just shut up. No say nothing until you get uh, more, uh, more test subjects in the test group, and then release some damn information. But they keep on going back and forth, back and forth. What's your thought about that, brother?
Well, I mean, again, you hit it on the head. It's it's a lack of communication between different agencies. It's no one's on the same page. Everybody's, and it starts at the top with the leader of any organization. I don't care if you're a board member of a nonprofit board or a board member of a private corporation. You cannot have the board members running out giving different messages. And if you notice, the very successful organizations or governments is structured that way. I think, again, I'm biased because I live on Kauai, but if you look at Kauai, it's so structured the way they operate. Everybody works in the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. Everyone has their duties, but the messaging comes out every day by the mayor, and he says what needs to be said. The press releases come out, and what is needed to be said is said. They don't have all these different. You don't hear that. You don't hear Dr. Berriman contradicting what the mayor is saying. You don't hear the civil defense guy, Alton Ushio, coming out and making his own press conferences, press statements. Yeah, the structure is vital, and you don't have that in the state. You have a governor who is comfortable with allowing his department heads to go out and do their own thing. And that's why and then you have a lieutenant governor who's not even on the same page as the governor. That is a huge problem right there, because now you have the agencies that are loyal to the lieutenant governor are singing his song. And those that are loyal to the governor are singing his song. So you end up with a shitload of misinformation and confusion, Charlie. And that's what's happening here in Hawaii right now. And that is a problem, because now, Charlie, you and I could be having a cup of coffee. You happen to listen to the governor. I happen to listen to the lieutenant governor in the days prior. And we're having a discussion, and we're talking about something. And I said, no, bro, that's not true. No, I just heard the lieutenant governor. And you said, no, bro, I just heard the governor. Ah, you must have heard wrong. No, I never hear wrong. And as silly as that may sound, that is exactly what is happening. And it is, I mean, Civil Beat did a story on that. Civil Beat cited the quotes from each of our leaders. And they are not on the same page. You see, that's the problem right there. That's poor leadership on the governor's part. The governor clipped the lieutenant governor's wings early on. Remember? Clipped them. Whoop, took them off the committee. You sit in a corner, shut your mouth. And the governor got pounded. He gave in. He brought him back. And now the lieutenant governor has run his own direction, and the governor is on his own direction. And guess what? The people lose. The people lose because the two heads are apart, and they cannot even work together. So that's the difference, I think, Charlie. And I think the result of that, the collateral damage, is the misinformation, because different segments of the community are hearing different messages from leaders. I mean, I'm talking about the top two leaders in the state. And that's shameful. That's shameful. It really is.
Like they said, and I'm sure you've seen this in your former life as a detective, one who's investigated homicides before. But I remember real clearly when I did some cases with the ME's office. We don't say anything. The one who releases the statement is the medical. We want to get in front of the camera or not. We don't do say anything, because why? You have anybody that just takes it out of context and leads to like a defamation, and it leads right back to you as you don't want giving out the information that's not 100% correct. And because you get deep pockets floating around, you'd be surprised how fast the lawsuits fly. And I'm not saying it's going to happen this go. Maybe there are some people who are just frustrated they lost a lot. They may. All I'm saying is, when you get a message and say, if you're trying to get 100% compliance, don't give out the message at 95% and leave 5% up to interpretation. Because it's very easy to take that 5% and flip it, make it 95% interpretive at that point, right? So
Yep.
then we lose time, we waste time, and all we're doing is we trying to untangle the mess because of that 5% misinformation. We're trying to get people back on track, but we too busy trying to, like, where did this information come from? It came from you. I mean, as slight as it may be. And it's like, you gotta wear your mask, you gotta social distance. Oh, but if you got the vaccine, you don't have to. Because some people, they don't read beyond that. It's true what they said. You don't have to wear your mask, and you don't have to social distance, and you can have get-togethers indoors. If the people you are with, they got vaccinated as well, right? That's what it says. But some people will only take it up to the point, hey, we're vaccinated, we don't need. Because what if you got vaccinated and you with a group you don't know anybody? Wouldn't you err on the side of caution? I still would err on the side of caution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
because people don't want to read beyond a certain point, it said it's going to fit what they want. And that's the problem. That's the 5% I'm talking about. Because what can happen? You won't get that 5% come out doing show, just like what we're doing is, oh no, but this came from the CDC. I said, okay, explain to me, what did the CDC say? And the person stopped, and then somebody got to tell him, wait, you stopped a little short. There was, I think, one more sentence after that. What was the other sentence? No, that's what I heard. Yeah, that's what you tell yourself what you heard.
Remember when we used to make plastic models? Remember the model cars or the planes or whatever you used to make, and you had to get the glue that you had to have one parent buy for you because that glue was dangerous. But remember when you put that engine together, you get the toothpick, you get the glue, you put them along the edge of the part, you put them together, and you put the whole engine together. And then the instruction said, wait 24 hours before you go on to the next step. I ain't gonna wait 24 hours. I don't like that sentence. I'm going to move on to the next step. And then you come back and you put and your engine all fall apart again. But by
No,
then, the glue had melted the plastic, so the thing don't fit right anymore. And you get glue stains all over your model, and you ruined it because you never follow instructions.
no, not that. It's okay. You think you know what you're doing, right?
Yes,
So with all said and done, he said, Daddy, come and get all these spots left.
right. Because you only follow the instructions that fit what you wanted to do, which was to get that model done quickly. They didn't matter. All the instructions that came out didn't matter.
And then you tell your father, Daddy, how come one tire on the car smaller than the rest? Because son, that's not a tire, that's the steering wheel.
There's an old saying, we all got to beat to the same drum. If we want to win this thing, whether it's in business or battle or whatever, we all got to beat to the same drum. And that's why you have a leader. That's why you have a governor. That's why you have a mayor, because they are the leader. They are the one that's calling the drums, and you got to all beat to the same drum. You remember one of the old time war strategies was planes used to fly over and drop leaflets.
Yeah,
Remember, they would drop leaflets with propaganda to
yeah,
confuse people,
yeah.
because a confused population is very vulnerable, and that's what this is. And it's not even funny because of technology today. There is really no need for that. Everyone should be on the same page. Whether you agree or disagree,
Yeah.
the leader sets the direction, and the rest got to follow. But that's what's lacking
Yeah.
sorely in our state leadership. And again, at the end of the day, the people pay, and it's just
You know,
unfortunate.
you was talking about glue. Brother Stan Kua talks about gorilla glue. And that's the reason why the girl that we use the glue for her hair, because she forgot to read past a certain point. The warning. You know the warning thing that come after all the stuff, what it does do? That's why they got to attach a warning. So what you should do is read the whole thing first. No stop with what, oh, this thing be perfect for my hair. And then next thing you know, you end up in a hospital because you don't can take the dent.
That's some powerful glue, bro.
Yeah.
That glue, that glue is, man, I tell you.
I mean, what
Yeah.
was
So
she
anyway,
eating?
it's something that we all got to participate in, and we all got to be flexible. But again, we
Yeah.
rely on our leaders to lead the way.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine. Can you imagine on a football team, Charlie, if the head coach call one play and then the assistant coach call one different play? Can you imagine the chaos on the field? You would lose. You would lose because your quarterback be all confused, your defensive captain be all confused. The play runs sideways. You get sacked. You lose the game because your two stupid coaches are battling for the leader, are
Yeah.
battling to be the leader.
Yeah.
Sorry, it doesn't work that way. What's so funny, Charles?
Just thinking about the gorilla glue.
Oh, hey, how's this, Charlie? We're coming into a culture now. We're coming into a time of the cancel culture, right? All these Dr. Seuss and all these books are being cleared off the shelves because of it's offensive to somebody. And I had a discussion with someone today, and it did make sense the way he told me why, because it's not right that our kids are exposed to that kinds of. Although it's really part of our history. Those books, I mean, the kids were never. I think they just read the books to read books and whatever. So okay, so fine. You got these people that says, hey, that's inappropriate. So we're taking them off. You cannot never buy no more Dr. Seuss, certain couple of the Dr. Seuss books or Disneyland or Mr. Potato Head. No, you cannot have a Mr. Potato Head. My God, you got to be gender neutral. Whatever. But you notice all those games, video games, Charlie,
Mhm.
get video games out there that you score points for robbing banks, for running away from cops, from shooting cops, from hurting people, from killing people. All of that is okay. The government has not stepped in, or no one has stepped in to say that those games should be banned. So it's okay for your kid to go and play a video game which he gets points for killing people, but he cannot read a Dr. Seuss book because it might offend somebody.
You
See,
remember
our
one of the you remember
society is messed up,
yeah.
messed up.
You remember one of the shootings, the I don't know if it's Columbine or one of the shootings. And they caught the shooter, the kid. And he attributed his mentality one to Gothic, right?
Mhm.
He's into Gothic, and the other one was his kind of video games that he got overtaken by the video game. He thought he was playing a video game with real life. I don't ever remember when Dr. Seuss book talk about taking life. Never.
And I don't even remember it being offensive. It was funny. It was. I mean, and again, our country has become so delicate that
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like
Mm,
really, people. It's Mr. Potato Head. Really,
mm,
that was one of the most. Somebody said, you remember when Mr. Potato Head had a pipe? Yeah, that went long ago. You know. So I understand there's concerns on both sides of the issue, but my thing is that you can listen to a rap song that talks about everything sex, the nastiest sexual practices, not a problem. Go ahead, kids, you can listen to that. But we're going to yank the books out. It's because someone's offended. Wow. All the sports teams, the Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team. Now they're talking about all these other teams that's got to change their names. I mean, really, I it drives me insane when I hear this. And listen, I know some of you probably agree with that stuff, and I don't mean to offend anybody. It's just my personal opinion. But God, our kids today are being exposed to stuff that uh, they should not be exposed to. But you don't see anybody complaining about that. But Lord have mercy,
Well,
Dr. Seuss.
I'll go one step further and say, and people are going to get offended, but I'm just going to say it. Growing up, I heard people call my mom certain names, but she said, "Son, I'm proud." My mom was half part Chinese, and they used to reference the term "pake." Okay, that's why growing up, I wasn't one that I was going to beat somebody to the pulp if they called me one "pake" or Hawaiian. It's just that hey, I grew up with it. It's not a hidden fact. I'm part Chinese, and so be it. And I've learned to live with it. Now, do I look at that after being 62 years of age? Is that offensive now? Can I roll back the hands of time? No. There's ways of handling it, and it's just be grown up about it. It's almost like saying we talked about whether or not you're gonna confront somebody for put on their mask, right? Your brother is 6'8", he don't like wear a mask. You want to go there, tell him put on his mask? I mean, serious. Sometimes you don't need the hassle. You don't need the hassle because people just for one minor altercation, people getting killed over that,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Is it worth it? No,
no.
no way in hell. It's not. So,
I did want to add that I grew up as a Portuguese boy.
mhm,
I was the brunt of 90% of the jokes, you
right.
know? But you know
Mhm.
what? I would say a very few incidents where it was so bad or it was so offensive or personal that, yeah, other than that, man, we had fun with it. We had fun with the pakes. We had Japanese guys that their nickname was Jap. That was their nickname. We had people, their nickname was um, what the heck was that Chinese nickname? One of our chiefs had sue about it. What was that guy's?
Yeah. Upsing,
Hop Sing. Hop Sing was a character in a movie, in a cowboy show.
bonanza. Mhm.
Yes, Bonanza. But I tell you, we grew up in a much better time, and I think, and today, come on, guys, loosen up. Being personal. Now you effing Portuguese, that's not good. When you tell a Portuguese joke, how much harm can that be? Yeah, the Portuguese, the Hawaiian, and the Japanese construction workers on the top of the skyscraper. You know, the old lunch. You remember that one, Charlie?
Yeah.
The Hawaiian open up his plate. He get lao lao. All right, I get lao lao. The Japanese open up his plate. He gets sushi. The Portuguese said, I've had tuna sandwich every day this week. If I open up this and get tuna sandwich, I'm jumping off this building. He opened up the sandwich. The Portuguese see he get tuna sandwich. He jump off the building, splat, make. The Hawaiian start laughing. The Japanese say, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Because he make his own lunch." Now, come on, man, that's an old joke. Still gets laughs today. And how offensive is that? How offensive is that? I love that one too, honey. I love that. That's such a funny joke. And it wouldn't be the same if you said the Hawaiian had jumped off the building because he make his own lunch. It wouldn't be the same. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be the same. So anyway, it is what it is, guys. We live in a different cancel culture, man. That's what it is. If you like cause and stir issues, go just be offended by something, and guess what? You'll make change because everybody's afraid of being sued.
Yeah.
Guys,
Exactly.
gotta understand. Marianne, there you go. Marianne Minnington, just get a grip. It's a joke.
Hmm.
It's a joke. Charlie, his poor wife got stung by a bee the other day. I know people got offended, Charlie. I was scared for you. I was afraid that Auntie Steph was gonna whack you with the shovel. But come on, man. Guys, we just gotta. I don't get it. Anyway, I just sorry for digressing again, but that one
You
just
see,
got to me, man.
it's the messaging, the message.
Lord have mercy.
But all in all, I tell you, we for some reason, I want to hope, I believe, but it's hard to get a grip of one thing. It's it seems like we're heading down the home stretch, the stretch of uncertainty. That's what it comes down to. Because I don't know, it's almost like we have our Air Force taking off, right? And we just don't see any bombs strapped under the wings. They just gonna fly away, and what are we gonna fight with? You know, I want to know what are we fighting now? Where are we gonna, you know, where are we gonna go? And I just wish that the powers that may be understands the fact that plenty people are just sensitive, plenty people are vulnerable, and we gotta guide them in the right direction. Okay, and don't guide them in something that, because I'll tell you the reason. We're not the one making this stuff up. When one of our administrative officials at the top started to say, okay, this is not needed, right? This is not needed. Yet we know what Fauci said. And that's why everybody had that perplexed look like, wait a minute, is there something that Fauci may have said off camera to you that that you're sharing with us, but he didn't? And yet you watch Fauci every single day. He's like clockwork. He's saying with the same message over and over again. So when you got somebody like that, it's really like somebody that knows this stuff. He's in his 80s and he's just pounding away at the same message. He's not going to digress from that message. He's just going to stay with the same message. But we got somebody or somebody's, okay, that's giving a message that's somehow, like when kite, right? Cut the string, the kite just floating down wherever the thing on land goes, right? And it's okay. And it's okay. But don't expect people to follow mandates right now if the mandates themselves don't have bite, or the messaging moves away from those mandates. Don't expect people to follow mandates, because that's what they're doing. Remember, I talked about that 5%. There's 5% of your message that really is telling everybody, you really don't have to do that. And if you're gonna say that, then you know what? Give them the whole paragraph to read. Don't just pick out snippets and say, hey, read this. This is why 5% confirms what I'm saying. I don't think that's right. I don't
Yeah.
think that's right at all.
No, you're right. You're right. I got. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, and as far as our government, and not just with COVID, but with a lot of things, we try. We My grandma used to say, "Too many hands spoil the soup." Too
Mm-hmm.
many hands spoil the soup. I'm sure there's many more cliches, but that's kind of what the issue, and you get too many people, you know, lead, follow, or get out of the way. That's kind of the mantra, it's you're gonna lead, you're gonna follow, or if not, get out of the way because you're gonna be in the way.
Right.
That's all part of leadership, management. That's what makes good leaders is the ability to get people on a team to pursue a common goal. And
Mm-hmm.
we don't have that because you get two separate leaders that have two separate goals. Ah, Shari says, I am offended by our leaders lying to us and blaming us. Well, that is so true. I mean, they blame us. Yeah, they turn it right back around. It's all because of us, too. It's all because of us. All because of us. Somebody was asking about Honey was saying she was taught that you cannot call a Portuguese person Portuguese unless you're Portuguese yourself. I don't think there's too much you can tell a Portuguese that's going to upset them. And maybe today is different, but like I said, we were, as Frank De Lima says, we were the chosen race. We were, and we still are, to absorb, to make people laugh, and to be, and I take that to heart. If you can call me on Portuguese or make fun of a Portuguese, make a Portuguese joke and laugh because it's funny, not because you're trying to injure or hurt someone, use the Portuguese all you want. Use the Portuguese. You
You know,
can't
I
do that with many other races, especially on the continent. You can you imagine going to the continent and go, oof, you get shot. So, Charlie, what
but
is your favorite Portuguese joke? What is your favorite Portuguese joke?
hmm, um, I I don't have one. They all favorites. They're all favorites.
Tyson says, true that. I never get offended of being Portuguese. Loud and proud. Emphasis on the loud. Bingo.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Like Melka Bang,
Oh,
Frank De Lima, Andy
Augie,
Bumatai,
Augie T,
huh?
Augie T,
Augie T, Rap Linga, all of these guys that,
Junior Kikueva,
who?
Junior Kikueva.
Who's that?
Remember? He's I believe that's Marion Kusaka's boy. Son. That's a,
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
cartoon. That's Junior, right? Kikueva. Is that it?
It's a son. That's her son. His name is, he got another name too.
But you ever heard some of the material come out? He's fine. He is
Yeah,
fine.
he's very funny. He's very funny. I mean, we have been blessed in Hawaii where people, except for Mel Kabang, people, I mean, these comedians made people laugh without cussing so much. Mel Kabang, Mel was, he was
He
one
was
of my
the
favorites.
he was the red Milka Bang was one of the red foxes back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. He was the Filipino Red Fox.
Yeah.
That son of a gun, boy. If you're an easily offended, you would never survive the first 10 minutes of his show.
If you're gonna go to his show, you cannot go late. Because once the house lights come down, you walk in. He get this big searchlight on the stage and he points you out as you walk into your table. He will point you out, boy.
Or
Yep,
worse
that's
yet,
or
don't
when you in the
ever,
bathroom. Going to the bathroom. He
don't
going
ever go to the bathroom.
yeah,
Go to the bathroom in a Malcolm Bang show.
yeah.
Don't come out. Don't come out.
Just stay in there to the show power. And you're not gonna get a refund either. Just stay in there, talk to yourself, do whatever, but don't come out
Bro,
because you'll be the joke when you come
oh
out.
man, we went to watch his show at the Kauai Beach Boy. I think it was the Beach Boy.
No, no, what's the kind with the kind Chris Chang? That wasn't that the old Kauai Beach Resort?
Kauai
Right by
Resort.
Blue
Kauai
River.
Resort.
Yeah, yeah.
Kauai Resort. So we're sitting in there, and this tourist, this Wahini tourist, gets up to go to the bathroom. He takes his spotlight, bam, he whack her with the light. He says, ma'am, don't go to the bathroom. I would not go to the bathroom if I were you. And she's like all embarrassed, but she gotta go, right? You drinking, you gotta go. She keeps on going. He goes, ma'am, don't go. I'm warning you. And she just puts her head down and she keeps walking. Ma'am, hey, he tells her, then he banged the husband or the boyfriend, shines the light, says, hey, you better stop her. He's not gonna. She goes to the bathroom. Now he was a master of sound effects. Remember, he had the little sound effects board. So he goes, all right, everybody be quiet. And then you hear somebody taking off their pants, sitting on the toilet, and then wow. He goes, whoa, boy. Holy moly, brother. She really had to go. And it's all sound effects. And
Yeah,
the place is erupting. It's just erupting with laughter. And then the poor soul comes out.
yeah.
And he whack him with the light. And now some would say he was offensive. But if you don't
But he
like that
wasn't.
kind of comedy
He
show,
wasn't. He wasn't
no
offensive.
go.
Yeah, because he gave a warning. Don't go.
That's right. And she went, and I never laughed so hard in all my life. I think that was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen because that poor lady had turned red like on crab. She was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
It was, but that's what he did. He picked on everybody in the show. That was his routine, and that's what made him so unique.
Yeah.
I mean, no one got away, Charlie. Nobody got away. He made his way right around the
Well,
room.
that's why I think I started off this segment by asking about the saying about the messaging, right? We got all these conflicting, and someone had asked me, "Hey, Uncle Charlie, we miss your jokes." Someone asked me, "Oh, where you get your jokes from?" And there's sites, and I'm very careful to watch. Some that's not appropriate, but for the most part, many of them that I put up. And I feel this way because we're stuck in this doldrum of COVID, 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 COVID. What's the harm of a little humor to get us over that hump? That's the only reason why I put it out there. I said, if you want to read it, fine. You don't want to read it, then don't read it. You know, and I'm not paying you to read my jokes, but I'm gonna put it out there because there's some people that actually enjoy it and it makes their day. And I promise them I will whenever I can find the jokes, I'll put it on, and that's what I do. I go and I search many different joke sites, and I just say, hey, this one sounds good. This one sounds good. So
Yeah.
like today I had the one about the robot. The robot.
you know, Laughter is definitely the best medicine. I struggled in school because I was a clown, right? And I think being a clown actually allowed me to graduate because the teachers just didn't want to see me back the next year. So they would just pass me. So, but I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy laughing. I love jokes. My problem is I can't remember them, even the good ones, but I love when people tell jokes and it's never offensive. And when you are stuck in this period
Look
of
at your
time,
dad. Look at
COVID,
your dad's post. Look at your dad's post.
who's
Your father.
my dad? Where's my dad's post?
Yeah. Thomas Raposo.
Charlie, do you still have the robot for sale? Yeah. No, Dad, I bought him from him this morning. But I think when we are locked in this time that everybody's so anxiety levels are high, stress levels are high, that what the
Yeah.
hell is wrong with a few funny jokes?
Yeah.
And everybody just easing up, um, and not looking for, okay, so I hear a joke or I read a joke from Charlie. Let me go look what's offensive about it so I can get angry. No, man, just go with it and laugh. If you know, if you're in that kind of mindset that you want to go find something offensive in a joke, then no read them. No read them.
No, if you want to find something offensive that gets your blood boiled, then just look at the CDC guidelines. You'll find a lot of confusing things that get your mind going.
Yeah.
But it's just again, my whole thing. It started off where you know I know people that transplant here. They may not understand, but because we all grown up together because of the migration of our immigrants that came to work the plantations, right? First the Chinese, then the Filipinos. What?
First the Chinese, then the
What?
Portuguese, sir.
No, it was the Filipinos, then the
No,
Portuguese.
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
that's what
We just
that's what they
had the
can.
museum guy on our show.
Yeah, but he called me to say he was wrong. He was
No,
wrong.
no way. And the ukulele is a Portuguese instrument.
Yes, a
And we
jumping.
were the second group to come to Hawaii. All right. We've been here a long time, Charlie.
Well,
Oh, not Filipino, Stephanie. I am sorry. You go do your research. Go to the Kauai Museum. Call up Chucky Boy Chuck, make one appointment, go interview him for the newspaper because it's the Portuguese, the second group.
There was that one joke about the Filipinos. They said, please, when you tell Filipinos, use these three words. Try to use chicken, nut, and bread in the same sentence. You heard that one? Huh?
Go.
So the guy said, "Oh, I can't use that in a sentence. I get my wife, I take her swimming, I throw her in the deep end. She only sinks because she cannot breathe. She cannot breathe." That's how they use chicken, nut, bread in the same sentence. Yeah. Mm. So,
I'm gonna close my comments with a joke.
oh,
This is one of
oh,
my all-time favorites.
okay.
And it's of course it's a Portuguese joke, all right. So nobody go get your panty in a sling. It's a Portuguese joke for me, from me. So this guy, Portuguese, walking down the beach, finds this was right by Nukoli. My grandpa still had the horses over there. Portuguese guy walking on the beach, he finds this genie. I mean, this bottle, this nice, beautiful bottle, and he picks him up and he cleans him up, wipe him up. Boom! This genie come out, and the genie goes, "Hey, thank you. You have 3 wishes, and only 3 wishes. What is your first wish?" And the guy, the Portuguese says, "I want a face like Elvis Presley." Okay. What's your second wish? "I want a body like Arnold Schwarzenegger." Okay. What's your third wish? "I want the genitals of that horse over there." Okay. Tomorrow morning you wake up, your wishes will be granted. Wakes up in the morning, runs to the bathroom, looks in the mirror. Yay! Face like Elvis Presley. Body like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He opened up his pants. He goes, "Son of a bitch! That must have been a female horse." I thought, sorry for the cussing, but that was part of the joke. That was a Malcolm X joke. I thought that was classic. I tell that to kids all the time. They appreciate it. Anyway, if you didn't get it, private message me. I'll let you know what it was. So, what's your final thoughts, sir?
Eh,
What's your final thoughts, man?
well, my wife's staring at me right now. She's Portuguese, and she giving me that look. But my my final thought is this, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, what did we discuss about COVID? Absolutely nothing. We went totally left field because why? Because every so often we need that break. We need that break to know that, hey, we still have our sanity, we still can joke, but more importantly, we still can love each other because we're all in this together. That's my final thoughts. Thank you, brother.
Roger Dodger, guys. Appreciate you guys. Everything changes every day. Every day changes. Friday, we get Feel Good Friday. We're gonna have some fun, and like I said, we're trying to work out Dr. Pang and his gang with Dana Moore, and we'll work on a night. And if it's a special night, we'll do it on a special night. We'll work around their schedule. We really want to get that information out to you guys about the pre-departure testing that they're doing in Maui, so we can get an accurate count of cases from our visitors that are leaving. Um, I think it's vital going forward come April 5th because safe travels, we're back in safe travels. And like I spoke on the Zoom call last night, in October when we went to safe travels, remember, Kauai, our cases spiked, but that was because we awaited second results from the test that didn't come in when before they arrived, and we also had the mandatory second test.
Mhm.
Um, I'm sorry, the guys took a second test and determined that they were positive. Come April 5th, there is no second test. There is no second test. They're going to have to get the results before they get on a plane. So we're going to only have to rely on the visitors that get sick, that go to the doctor because they're sick enough that they got to get tested, and then we'll find out. Then the contact tracing will ensue. So it's going to be vital for us to get that count from people that are leaving. It's working on Maui, and we're going to try and get that group together. I know Dana's on the call tonight. I'll reach out to her tomorrow and schedule a time. So
Let
with
me say
that,
something,
people.
brother. Let me say something real quickly,
Okay,
just
go
to
ahead.
add to what you just said. What's more important than someone getting sick is having the understanding now when that person gets sick, if that person feels they're gonna write it out because they know the possibility that if they get sick, they may have to go into quarantine. They may just write it out. And if they do, we will never know how many people they came in contact with. That's what everybody should remember. That's the danger about it all. When Dr. Capono talked about the second testing, it was for us to put up that safety barrier so we don't get into a predicament like that. But as it's going to come out, we're just going to have to roll the dice and hope that when somebody gets sick, it's hard enough people answering questions honestly. But when you got a lot riding on the line, spend all this money to come on a vacation, right? And knowing that if you get sick, you're going to be quarantined. He says, hey, if I get one-on-one fever, I still body aches like that, but I still can move around. You got some people that are hardcore like that will not go and seek medical treatment. Just got to realize when it comes after the fact, we're in a position, we won't have that vital information to contact trace in time. So that's why all of us, we still have to continue to wear a mask and social distance because we will not have that safety net. That's all I wanted to add.
Roger Dodger. Stay safe, everybody. Wear your mask, wash your hands, avoid gatherings, and just be happy, guys. We'll see you guys Friday night, 7 o'clock. Aloha.